Well, we live in an era where actually not even an era, just inherent to humanity, attention is the most valuable form of currency. Like if Conor McGregor released a sandal, it would sell out immediately. It would make millions of dollars because it's Conor McGregor. So
Hmm.
so it's I do understand what you're saying, but there's also the flip side to it, to where if you do gain that attention online, you can convert that into finances and also have a positive message, which is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. Happy to welcome Mr. Eli Halpern here. You are a CEO and founder of Golden Cricket protein bars, I read. And let's see, you're a comedian, you're a musician, rapper, I guess, what I read, and a ninja.
Aspiring ninja.
Aspiring ninja. But you teach martial arts?
No, I'm just a student. I've
Oh,
only been
just
training for like 3 or 4 years,
oh, okay.
but
And
that's most of what I do during the day.
a world traveler. You wear quite a bit of hats there, man.
Yeah, I've been to about 25 countries so far.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, I mean, we're all on a quest to figure out how to survive in this world, and I found that it's a lot easier to exist if you just do everything you want. Like all the things I'm currently doing are the things I wanted to do when I was a kid. So I've
Oh,
always stayed true to myself.
cool. So tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, let's see. My original dream was to be a comedian. I've been doing stand-up comedy for like 7 years now. Um, which I actually realized on a mushroom trip in Thailand. Had many years of drug abuse and intoxication, which it was fun at the time, but it did a number on my organs and body. And I quit drinking about 2 or 3 years ago, but stayed strong with the drugs and slowly just been tapering off. And as of now, I'm 32 days sober on zero medications or anything. And for the first time in my life, I feel just satisfied with who I am as a person and happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. You were talking about the medication. I was telling you earlier about my medical problems. And, I deal with pain every day. And so I go to a pain care physician. And when we first started, I told him, I said, look, man, I'm a drug addict. So I don't want any kind of opioids or anything like that because I know I'll abuse them. And I guess that kind of impressed him a little bit. But he said, look, I've got a medication. It's like methadone, but it's off label. It's for pain. So I don't get all messed up and everything, but I do get some relief from the pain. I just know me. I can't
What's
be
it
around the
called?
drugs. Oh my God, buprenorphine, I think is what it's called.
All right,
I
not
may be saying
familiar.
that wrong. Yeah, well,
I only know the cool drugs.
I've done plenty of those. 12 years old, I've smoked my first joint, and the next thing you know, I'm smoking crack and doing speed and acid. I mean, you pretty much name it. Tar heroin. Been there, done that. Not something I'm
Yeah,
proud of.
yeah. I've tried pretty much every drug. When when I took Dare uh, in fifth grade, took Dare class, and the whole point is you're not supposed to do drugs. I went
Hmm.
home and I said, Mom, why is there a class telling me not to do drugs? I know that drugs are illegal and I know that I'm not supposed to break the law. Why is there a whole class reinforcing not to break the law, but only about drugs? There must be something to this. They must be awesome. And my mom says to me, well, Eli, drugs will make you happy for a few hours and then you feel like shit for days after.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I get to be happy for 2 hours? And she said, no, Eli, you're not hearing me. You feel like shit after. And I was like, I don't care. I want to be happy, even if it's for 30 minutes.
Mm.
So I don't think I had any specific traumatic events. I just, as long as I can remember, I've always been like borderline suicidal. Just like, I don't want to exist in this timeline. I've always had I guess like a profoundly psychedelic view of existence, even before all the psychedelics. I was always looking out to find the answers and seeking more to life and seeking the truth. And I've always been insanely curious and just a truth seeker and wanting to know everything that's going on and wanting to know everything about everything. And that's kind of what started my journey into drugs. And well, I guess we don't need to get too into that.
Hey, as much as you want to talk about, I mean, I understand that it can be a touchy subject.
Oh no, I have a habit of making it sound really cool. So I don't want to give the wrong idea. But basically, I'll leave it at this. I did a bunch of research on marijuana when I was like 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found out about how the government labeled it as a Schedule 1 due to like racism, and that it was combating, like hemp could be used as a fuel or used to like build cars out of it. There's like a whole political aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when so at 12 years old, I was like, oh, the whole drug war is like a war on ideologies or and people. So then that thought process kind of led to like, well, maybe all drugs are good. And that's not true.
No, it's not. When I first started, it was kind of to fit in because I always felt like the odd man out. And then it got to be, oh, this was fun. And then it got to be more of a habit. And then it just was a full blown addiction. And you feel good for a while, but there's not only feeling bad, but for me, it started to get to be shame.
Yeah, that's
What do you
kind
mean?
of near the end of my usage. It wasn't so much that I was addicted to any singular substance. I was addicted to escapism. The
Mm-hmm.
drugs weren't the problem. The problem was I didn't want to be in my mind. I've always said the only problem with my life is that I'm the one in it. Like my environment is amazing. Everyone around me is amazing. My life has consistently been great since I was 18 and I moved out of my house and blocked my parents. Like wherever you go, you take yourself with you. And I was never fully happy with myself. And I'm at the precipice of that right now, to where I guess I used drugs and alcohol as a crutch to become who I wanted to be. Like the
Mm-hmm.
alcohol made me able to socialize and think quick off the top of my head, or so it seemed at the time. And weed and mushrooms gave me insight into consciousness, which answered a lot of questions, caused me to write some pretty good jokes. And I guess I'm at the point now where I just don't need any of that stuff. I've already reaped the benefits of, because I'm not going to say all drugs are bad and you should never do drugs, but all addictions, well, actually, not even all addictions are bad. I'm addicted to martial arts, and I think that's a good thing. Drawing lines is difficult because everything's objective. But I trying to escape who you are is a problem. And the goal is to become someone that you don't want to run from. So on my average day, I'm waking up at 9 a.m. I've been posting a lot of motivational content recently. Because a lot of people know me as like a comedian or a guy that sells crickets. And I'm kind of an odd character, but I have a lot of wisdom and depth that I haven't really shared with the world because it's not very funny. And I've always considered humor as my main goal. But then I realized I have a lot of insight to offer everyone. So I did kind of a rebrand and started posting like motivational clips, and a lot have been going pretty viral and gaining some positive attention. And I've had dozens of people reach out to me and said that I inspire them to go sober. And so it feels really good to be making that difference. So I'll wake up at 9 a.m., post content. I'll train martial arts for 2 to 3 hours, sauna, ice bath, get a healthy meal in. I'll go meditate for 10 to 20 minutes in my backyard, usually butt naked under the sun, and work on my business. Then I'll do something creative like play music in here, or go out and do stand-up comedy, or both. And then I'll go hang out with my friends at night after I've accomplished everything. So it's impossible for me to not be proud of myself when I'm doing all that every day.
Yeah.
Now, this is why I have a lot of understanding for people that do drugs, because not everyone is lucky enough to be in my position. Because the reason I have the time to do all this stuff is because I started preparing financially since I was like 12 years old, maybe younger, maybe like 8. I've always had like a future vision of how I wanted my life to be, and it's crazy looking back, like how everything's gone pretty much according to plan. I've been incredibly lucky in so many ways.
Do you feel like you've had a self-esteem problem?
I wouldn't describe it as a self-esteem problem. I mean, I think I had the same self-esteem problems that every man does. Because when I was a kid, I realized that as soon as I turned 18, I'm an adult, I'm a man, and the world doesn't give a shit about you anymore. So I had to create myself. You know, the world cares about women and children. And as a man, if you're not providing, you're essentially worthless in the eyes of the masses. Like, or at least no one's going to feel bad for you. No one's going to go out on a limb to help you. So all of my accolades have stemmed from a crippling fear of being worthless. So I have just tried my hardest to gain as many skill sets and be as valuable of a man as possible.
I'll tell you what, whenever I started having my health issues, I was so emasculated. I felt worthless. And, you know, what I do, maybe it's not much to some people, but to me, this is like everything. I want to make it success.
Yeah, I mean, your health issues really suck, man. I don't know what I would do if I was in your situation. I wish I had some insight. I've thought about that a lot, because the foundation of my well-being is being physically active and physically fit. And if I lost that, I don't know what I would do. And I don't know how I would advise someone who is struggling with that, what to do. And I hope I don't have to and find out the hard way. But
yeah, I don't wish that on anyone. It sucks, man. Surgery after surgery. And
well, have you looked into stem cells?
You know, I've talked to someone about that, and I thought, well, maybe, but
dude, if I was you, I don't know how you're doing financially, but assuming not great like most people, I would blow up your credit, get a bunch of credit cards, max them out on stem cells, and then be in fucking credit card debt.
Yeah.
That's that's my best advice. I'm sorry, but I think stem cells have a lot of promise,
Yeah,
and
I
it
agree.
seems like they're the only thing that can cure something like um even like paralysis. I've heard of.
Yeah, that neuropathy and paralysis sucks. Yeah, I've got a lot of nerve damage, makes me shake. I can't hold a pen and draw like I used to, but I'm not going to sit here and feel sorry for myself either, which is why I'm really motivated to do the show and looking into other things that I could possibly do. There's nothing, like you said, there's nothing worse than a man who just is worthless, who can't provide. And that, we seem to be bringing up a generation of kids that think life is about being an influencer. That's all they aspire to, is getting the most likes on, Instagram or something.
I mean, that's
Well,
kind of what we're doing here, but
it's a whole different thing. What we're doing is trying to help people. I don't post pictures of I'm at Arby's eating a sandwich, or you know here's my new shoes and all that kind of stuff. I just think that's worthless.
well, we live in an era where actually not even an era, just inherent to humanity, attention is the most valuable form of currency. Like if Conor McGregor released a sandal, it would sell out immediately. It would make millions of dollars because it's Conor McGregor. So
Mhm.
so it's I do understand what you're saying, but there's also the flip side to it, to where if you do gain that attention online, you can convert that into finances and also have a positive message, which is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But how I'm really curious, how are you able to stay positive with your health issues? What are like the key components? Like I explained mine were like the exercise, meditation, eating healthy, whatever. What's your routine like to keep you on track?
Well, I'm like you. I do meditation as well. Yeah. I'm tell you that helped me. I don't even know how to describe it. I weaned myself off of those, medications for depression and all that stuff, and got into meditation. I can go to a situation, like into a crowd, where used to I would freak out, and I do my meditation before I walk in. I can scan the room. I know if I need to get out, where to get out, that kind of thing. That's one of probably the main thing I do for that. My family, I got 3 grandkids. I want to be grandpa, and grandpa can't be grandpa if he's feeling sorry for himself and sitting in his room all alone drinking and doing drugs. You know what I mean? And I try to stay as active as my body will allow me. It sucks when you go walking in 10 minutes, you can't go much further.
How
But
long has that been going on?
geez, it started getting bad about 4 or 5 years ago.
And how long you been sober?
I've been sober for about 10 years.
Okay. Well, that's really commendable that you're able to stay sober even with that, because that was usually my slipping point. Whenever there's a few times where I got injured slightly when I couldn't train for several weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when I would start getting back into drinking and drugs.
Yeah. Well, when I started doing the show and I started thinking about, how can I be a positive influence? And when I meet people that say life coaches and these authors and therapists, all these people that come on my show, I it's almost like I take a piece of them when I talk to them, and I listen. I listen to a lot of the advice. I've changed my life around in so many ways. It's ridiculous. And then I got a message one day from someone who was telling me that, you know, they were thanking me for the show and that it helped them. I won't get into details, but that message alone was like, you know, even if it's just one person out there, I've made a difference in this world. So that keeps me going as well.
Yeah,
As
knowing that you're helping others is really it's really the final step in executing yourself as a man, like in the world. You know, like I feel like I've been preparing myself to help other people this whole time, but I wasn't at the point yet where I could offer my voice. You know, like if I was high as fucking on a bunch of mushrooms, dude, I used to take like 3 grams of mushrooms every day,
oh my goodness.
which it wasn't, I got to be honest, drugs didn't really fuck up my life. They made it a lot of fun, but I was ashamed that I needed something to make myself happy because like my life is good enough to where I should just be happy without it. But I just have never heard of anyone taking as many mushrooms as I was taking. And I'm already crazy enough. So
Well, I want
I
to
had to,
know. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
oh no, you go ahead.
I was wondering how in the world you come up with Golden Cricket protein bars.
I was tripping balls.
Now somebody's going to be out there. Oh, I need to do this too.
That's what I'm saying, man. I I'm not going to condone any illegal activities, of course, but there's drugs aren't the only way to get the insights that I've gained either. I think meditation is you can reach the same profound like realizations of connectedness and unity in the universe from meditation as you can with psychedelics. Psychedelics just speed it up and make it happen instantly. But you also it's not going to change you if you just trip and that's it. Like tons of people trip and have crazy ideas. I actually did the work. I tripped and then I came up with a whole plan, and it wasn't while I was tripping. I just had the idea while I was tripping. I wrote it down, and then I had this whole vision of shiny gold bars. So crickets, let me back up a little bit. I went to Thailand when I was 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I ate a scorpion. It was barbecued, and it was actually delicious. And then I did some research, and it turns out that insects are super nutritious, super sustainable. So this was just an opinion I held. Just people should eat bugs. Like, why not? There's no reason that we shouldn't eat bugs. That was just an opinion I had. It didn't go much further than that. I firmly believed it. I wasn't adamant about it. I mean, it wasn't part of my identity or anything. But then a few years ago, I moved to Austin, started doing martial arts, started getting more serious about comedy, and fast forward like a year and a half, I got like a community and a network of amazing people around me,
Mm-hmm.
a bunch of people that support me and stuff. And I'd always wanted to launch a business that was innovative and would disrupt the market and change the world, maybe freak people out, just something new and exciting that no one else was doing. Because before I had done a lot of e-commerce like FBA, Amazon, and selling stuff on eBay like kitchen scales and toilet plungers and fidget spinners, like nothing that came from me. It was just, I was just doing good business.
Mm-hmm.
But no one cares about a guy selling Tupperware. So I love protein bars because I'm super active and I'm always on the move. I'm rarely in a situation where I can just sit down and have a meal in the middle of the day. So protein bars are my jam. And I thought it'd be cool to have an insect protein bar because I still think eating bugs is kind of weird. But if they're ground up into a powder in a protein bar where you can't even see them, I was thinking, eating a cow is gross too. You're not just going to take a bite out of a bloody cow leg, but a nice grilled steak, that's delicious. Now, what's the difference? Well, the preparation. So it's all in the preparation. So how do you properly prepare insects? Dehydrated, ground in a powder, and slipped into a protein bar. I thought that was a good idea. So I think my buddy came up with the name Golden Cricket. And then I was like, yeah, and they could be shiny gold bars and, prominent logo with striking colors, get the branding and marketing. I have all these musicians and comedians in my circle that would love to help out. So we've been making good ads and the packaging's awesome. And crickets are 65 to 70% protein by weight. They contain all 9 essential amino acids. They use 2,000 times less water to produce than whey protein. They're high in calcium, magnesium, zinc, iron, potassium, omega-3, omega-6, vitamin B12. So it takes less time to farm them. It takes like 30 to 45 days to harvest crickets, which compared to plant protein is 12 times faster, assuming you're harvesting once a year. And to get milk out of a cow is years. To get meat out of a cow is even more years. So it takes less time, less space, and less resources to create a protein that has more nutrients and minerals than anything else. So just the science behind that it's like a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people with dairy sensitivity. So whey isn't the best option for a lot of people. Most people complain about how whey bloats them. I know a lot of people that are not vegetarians, but they use plant-based protein because it's easier on their stomach. And cricket protein is a natural prebiotic, and it's got a lot of fiber in it. So you don't get that bloating with it.
Oh, wow. That's stuff I didn't know. So you moved to Austin? Where were you originally?
I was in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, and are you in Austin now?
Yeah.
What part?
I live by the airport.
You're not far from me. I'm in Kyle.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, right between Buda and San Marcos.
Oh, hell yeah. I didn't know you were this close.
I didn't know you were there either. Might run into each other,
Yeah. You should come out to my comedy show. I got one tomorrow night.
Do you? I might be able to do that. Where's you gonna be at?
It is at Roscoe's, ROZCO's comedy club. I got a bunch of shows coming up in the next few weeks. They're all on my Instagram at Cricket Lord MMA.
I'm gonna have to check that out, but you have to give me the VIP treatment when I get there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And now let's talk about your music. So, number one, of course, how did you get into music, and why rap?
Well, the rap was I wanted to be a rapper as a kid. I wanted to be everything, man. I wanted to do everything, and I am doing everything. But I don't know, the music started out. I started playing drums when I was like 12. Started playing guitar at 15. And then I went to college and started drinking heavily, and just kind of stopped playing music for maybe like 5 years. But it was always like one day I'm gonna create a situation where I can have a music studio in my house, and I finally made that happen about 3 years ago.
Nice.
So, I got the drums, I got a bass and a guitar behind me, and I got a looper pedal so I can like lay down a bass line, play guitar over it, and then just jam on the drums. So fully like self-sustaining equilibrium. I could have a lot of fun by myself. But then the rapping came from uh I don't know. I was just like, I tried it once before and it didn't go well. I went and listened to it and I was like, oh, I was drunk when I recorded this. I'm gonna try it again with a more sober mindset. And I just wanted to, because I make beats as well. I've been making beats since I was like maybe 14.
Mhm.
And I have a really good ear for music. Like I really get off to like sending my friends music or new people that I meet. And I'm always able to tap into what they like. Like if someone hops in my car and they're like, let me play a song. I'm like, no, but tell me what you want to play and I will show you something else. And half the time they're like, like, fuck you, dude. But every single time they're like, all right, this is actually dope. So I'll pick these really good beats and then I'll rap over them, just saying some like weird, crazy shit that makes me laugh. And I'll perform it every Tuesday night at this bar called Latchkey, where my friends have like this karaoke type thing going on, but I get to go up and do an original. I usually just freestyle it. And mainly I just do it to make my friends laugh.
Why not? You only live once, right? Might as well enjoy it.
I don't know, man. I think you live infinity times. I think you're going to get another chance with a healthy, strong back after this lifetime. I really firmly believe that. I believe in reincarnation. And so does every major religion if you go far back enough.
Yeah. Have you ever tried past life regression?
No, I've thought about it.
I have a friend who does that.
Out here?
No, actually, I think she just moved to France, but she does it like over, uh, was it Zoom or something like that? I think she can do it that way.
Yeah, that's so the person I found, maybe a few people I found who do it. They're also in another country. And if I like book a thing, it's at like 2 a.m. or something. So that's why I haven't tried it. I'm trying to stay away from all that extra spiritual stuff. I got to the bottom of it. I understand the whole universe now. I'm just trying to focus on this reality, this dimension. I recently decided that this dimension is all about the body, and I look at myself in the mirror and first of all, pretty happy with what's going on. But second of all, I'm like, this is not me. This is my avatar. This is like a rental suit. It's like you know what I mean? Like I don't fully identify with my physical form. I'm happy with it, but I don't think it is my mind. And I think my mind is infinite, but I know that my body is temporary. But by focusing on my temporary body in terms of health and muscle training, like skills, because playing music, doing woodwork, whatever, it's all teaching your muscles in these little cyclical ways to perfect these movements.
Mm-hmm.
So that plus just paying attention to my body in the moment. So if I'm in a bad mood, a few months ago, if I was in a bad mood, I would be like, well, it's because this thing happened and that reminds me of this. And then these compound to mean that I am not good enough for this or something like that. Whereas now, if I'm not in a good mood, it'll just be as simple as I need to get more sleep tonight. I need to work out. I need to eat better. I need to hydrate. So just by making everything about the body, it really simplifies everything. And by focusing on the health of my body, eventually or naturally, the health of my mentality is going to follow.
Okay. Now, the martial arts, was that just kind of a way to stay in shape, or were you like, oh, I want to learn how to do this stuff so I can kick somebody's butt?
Oh, both for sure. I mean, society is kind of contained by fear. Like the reason people aren't out committing crimes all the time, it's not because there doesn't even need to be a cop standing around waiting for people. People know there's an understood implication that the, they'll be coming for you if you do something wrong.
Mm.
So men naturally respect other men that are capable of fighting. Like you're going to talk to a guy slightly different, whether you're conscious of it or not, if they're half your size versus someone who's twice your size. So I definitely want to be respected, and I want to defend myself. And I want to be in shape as well.
I don't blame you there.
It's not really an either or. It's an all encompassing.
Yeah.
Like I want to be healthy and I want to be able to beat the shit out of people. But I'm not going to. But I'm not going to, and that's why I'm a good person.
Now, the comedy thing, it's got to be terrifying to get up there in front of people, especially when you want them to laugh and you're not sure if you're going to be able to do so. Where did you get the confidence to do that?
Comedy is not scary for me. It's scarier to not do comedy. I think it's scarier doing this podcast than doing comedy. It's harder for me to be serious. But I could trace back where my confidence came from, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I got sent away to boarding school when I was 14 for smoking weed. And that was it. Other than that, I wasn't really a bad kid. I was a class clown, and I was defiant against teachers and stuff because my parents and all the teachers were always like, you need to listen to us. And I was like, I don't want to listen to you. I don't want to be anything like you guys when I grow up. I know what I want to be, and you guys are not that. So I'm going to do what I want. And I got in a lot of trouble for that. But, you know, fast forward, turns out I was totally right because my life is way better than all of theirs. But in that boarding school, there was like a therapeutic element to it where all the kids would be grouped up and you'd be encouraged to like share your deepest, darkest insecurities, which I don't think is a good idea. I don't think talking about stuff, especially to other kids or like a group of people, I think that just enhances and makes you think about the problems more. I think it's better to, some people call it sweeping it under the rug. I just call it not feeding it. I don't feed those thoughts. So if you have negative stuff or insecurities or things you're worried about, just fucking stuff that shit away and focus on other things. Think about anything else rather than focusing on the negativity. So I never really played into that, but everyone else did. So I got a firsthand look at what all of, you know, hundreds of other kids my age were thinking and feeling. And at a young age, I think most of us are in a kind of I'm less than, I'm different. Other people have things that I don't. At least that's how I felt. And then I realized that everyone feels that way. So it's less of a confidence in myself. It started out as less of a confidence in myself and more of a knowing that everyone else ain't shit, really. It's not that I'm awesome. It's that everyone sucks.
I can see you would be awesome at a party. Well, one last thing I'd like to talk about. There's young folks out there, or heck, let's just say there's even people up around my age that have never really tried to pursue anything, any of their dreams, anything at all. You're going to mentor them. What would you tell them?
I don't know, man. It really depends on the person. Not everybody wants to do all the shit I'm doing. There's a lot of people that are envious of my abilities and my ability to chase them and accomplish them. And there's a lot of people that are just happy letting me entertain them. So I don't know. I'd say if you're considering doing stand-up comedy, don't do it. There's enough.
There's enough comedians out there. Don't hog all the
Yeah.
jokes.
Most comedians are not funny. You're not just wasting your time, you're wasting everyone else's time. That's as a comedian, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
As a life coach, I would be like, oh, do whatever you want. If you want to do music, I'd say do that. I mean, it's easy. You can learn everything on YouTube and you can do it by yourself. You don't need anything but a internet connection and a quiet place.
True.
I guess most importantly, I would say if you feel like you haven't taken chances, to not feel guilty about that, to just be grateful for what you have done. And if you want to make a change, it's not too late. I started doing martial arts at 27. I'm 30 now. So, I mean, I don't know if that's the best example because I'm not about to be a world champion or anything, but I'm in the gym training 2-3 hours a day. That my body is on point. I'm in great shape. So it's usually not too late.
I know it's important to balance everything in your life, whether it's your mental state, your physical state, and making money. I mean, let's face it, we have to go out and earn a living, but you also need to focus on family. You got to be there for family. And you have to have time to yourself, time for your friends. There has to be an even balance, or I don't think it really works. But I thank you for your time, man. This was pretty cool. Do you have a website?
Oh, you can buy the cricket protein bars at goldencricket.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my Instagram is at Cricket Lord MMA. The company Instagram is at Golden Cricket Inc. We'll just leave it at that. I have I have like 8 different accounts for all these different things. Those are the important ones. Just me and my company.
Well, I do have some links from Podmatch. I will share those in the description so people can find you pretty easy. But I'm looking forward to checking out your comedy. So where would you say we're going to be at?
I got the whole list on my Instagram. On Thursday, I'm going to be at Roscoe's Comedy Club.
Mm-hmm.
And then April 11th, I'll be at Creek in the Cave. April 14th, I'll be at Sunset Strip. And April 20th, I'll be at Wanderlust Wine Company. And those are all pretty much at 8 p.m. Or the Sunset Strip on the 14th is 11 p.m. But they're all on 6th or 7th Street.
Yeah, 6th Street. If you're in Austin, you got to go to 6th Street. That's where everything's happening. But yeah, again, man, thank you for your time. And
Yeah, thank you for having me.
of course. And if anything new comes up, man, I'm pretty sure you're not going to stop there. Let me know. I'd love for you to come on and talk about it.
All right, sounds good.
And I also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. I hope you'll come back. And for my regulars out there, you guys make it possible for me to do this. And share this. Someone out here needs to hear the message. So share it around. And until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network